Hey there, everybody. Robert Taylor with Wonderscape Creations. Continuing on with our relationship system. So let's go ahead and continue with this setup. There's still a few things that we need to do in the setup, and I didn't want to force people to watch stuff that they couldn't do. Again, this is for primarily for Narrative Pro, but this can easily be utilized for those who don't have it. Um, so if we ever get to a point to where there's a great deal of information that's just for Narrative Pro people, I'll end the video there for you guys and just do that Narrative Pro stuff to get it out of the way. That way, those that don't have Narrative Pro can just jump to the next video and not have to keep waiting. So the next thing we need to do is create a blueprint interface. So I'm going to come back here to my relationship component. I can easily get to this interface. Right click, go to blueprint, and there's blueprint interface. So I call mine BPI underscore relationships. Oh, that's right. Underscore WC. Now we're going to open it up. Now we have quite a few functions that we need to make. So we need to go ahead and just go ahead and get started with that. First thing we're going to, and do note that some of them are Narrative Pro specific. However, you can change the name and um, the arguments for the input and output depending on that, and I'll make sure I stress that out for you guys. So this first one is called Get Relationship Component. So for this one, it's pretty self-explanatory. We need to just go ahead and get an output, and I'm going to name it relationship component, and it's going to be the AC relationship. Did I spell it wrong? Okay, oh, that's right. I made it to where it's just called relationship component. Let object reference, compile, save. The next one is called, oh, I need to actually hit add function, is called get player definition. Now, this you can just call get player if you don't have Narrative Pro. That's all that's really necessary. And this one will have an output, and I'm going to call it player definition. And I will make we will make this, sorry, I had to pause real quick, and we will make this of our blueprint character, that definition that we just made, which for us is called my player definition. The next one that we will make is for the NPC. Now again, if you don't have Narrative Pro, it's probably just get NPC, and you'd probably just wind up getting your parent class for all of your NPCs. And for us, we'll have an output node. We will name this NPC definition. This will be my NPC definition, or your NPC, whatever, for those that don't have Narrative Pro. We'll compile and save. The next thing is we will need to add, and we'll call this one set relationships in player definition. This one will have an input. We'll name this one relationships, and we'll get the S relationship variable and turn it into an array. Now, you who don't have Narrative Pro, you can choose to place your relationships wherever you want. Um, since you're going to be accessing your player, you may want to keep them there when you save. I don't know. It's really up to where you have your save system and how it's hooked up. For those that have Narrative Pro, this is how we are going to do it. And finally, the last thing we need is to set relationship in NPC definition. And this one will also have an input node. And we're going to name it relationship to player. Turn this back into a single variable, and it will be a gameplay tag. Perfect. Now that we've done that, we now need to make or use, depending on who you are, your player controller. So for us, I believe we already have one. Yes, we do. For those of you who are following along in Narrative Pro, at this point you will want to make your own child of the controller, which is BP Narrative Player Controller. So go ahead and make a child of that, pause it, and then join us back up once you have your controller made. And the reason we needed the controller is we are now about to add several, the interface to a few blueprints. So in the controller, the first thing we're going to do is obviously we need to add our component. Our component will be on the player controller. So I'm going to hit add. I'm going to look for relationship component. And once I have that set in here, I will go to the class settings, go to implemented interfaces and hit add. I will look for a BPI, where is it? Relationships. Compile and save. With that, I now have some new, that's what we're looking for, functions. There we go. And what I need is get relationship component. I'm going to open it up, get my relationship component, plug it in, and we are good to go. Now, this disorganization really bothers me, so I'm going to go ahead and come in here really quick, and I'm going to name all of these relationships. File and save, and now everything that involves relationships is right there. I don't have to read through a giant list of functions. The next thing we need to do sorry, excuse me. The next thing we need to do is to add this to our, looking at the time here, yeah. We need to add this to our definitions. That's what I'm looking for. So we will go ahead and end this episode here for anyone who's non-narrative pro. And I will see you guys in the next episode. And thank you so much for watching. For the rest of you, let's go ahead and get everything set up how we need to. So let's jump into our NPC definition that we created. And we need to come up in here into the class settings, add our relationship interface. And we need to do the get NPC definition, and we just need a reference to self. And then we need the set relationship and NPC definition. And we will grab our relationship with player and set it. There we go. We have everything there. And then now we need to go to the player definition. The first thing we need to do again is get the interface and come here into the interface again and get player definition. Again, this is a reference to self. And then we need to do set relationship and set relationships and player definition. Now, the reason that we are doing this, guys, is because the save system is very powerful in Narrative Pro. However, the instructions in the documentation isn't quite clear on how we actually load in variables that we save. They just say that the instructions just say to check the variable as save game, which is great, but everything that I've read, everything that I've looked up, I don't know how to load the variable back. So what I've opted to do is place it in the player definition, because everything in the player definition is saved every time, so we don't have to worry about it. Since we already have to have a reference to it anyways, you might as well utilize it, and it's always loaded, so it's not a big deal. So with that, we need to first pull in the relationships variable. My brain just does not want to brain today. And the first thing we want to do is clear it. And the reason we want to clear it is we don't want duplicates. And we can get duplicates with this because as we're playing the game, our relationship with an NPC can change. And that changes the way that array looks, that array element looks, which means you can accidentally add the same NPC to a different array element at a neutral, what's the word I'm looking for? At a neutral tag, and you may actually be at hate or love. So it's important to make sure that we clear out the old stuff before we continue on. So let's go ahead, and now that we've got it cleared, we will pull, I'm going to clean this up a bit. Pull this up, pull this out, and do for each loop. And then pull that into there. And the next thing we want to do is get our relationships again. Add unique. Place that right in there. And we are good to go. Now, one other thing that we can do that I would recommend doing is, now that it's saved on the NPC, oh no, we don't want to do that. Keep it exactly how it is, because we don't want to clear, we don't want to clear, yeah, we don't want to clear this relationship on the component quite yet. We don't want to do that unless the game is ending. All right, so the next thing we will do is in the next episode, because we got a lot to do within the relationship component itself. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.